other one, the other book, I did the cover and a lot of live shots in it. And that's a wonderful, it's a Swedish photographer called Bengt van Celius. He traveled around the world and discovered a lot of new ABBA photos we'd never seen before. And he did a wonderful job. So I think this book is amazing. And for us, working with ABBA, oh, there's so many pictures. And when I look into your magazines, I can still see pictures I've never seen before. So of course, the ABBA, the four of them, were very happy to have photographers around. But this is my background. My father and mother are musicians. So my father was playing the organ in the church, and my mother, before I was born, she was an opera singer. And this is our summer home, and Benny's been playing on this piano many times after this. But there's a picture of Jussi Björling, our famous tenor. And my mother was singing with Jussi Björling in the 1939, 1940. And she was quite famous. But her parents thought it was too sinful for her to be. So she left and became a singer with let's see. And she toured. And this is our national composer of Sweden, Hugo Alfvén. It's like Grieg in Norway, Sibelius in Finland. So my mother was his favorite singer. So she appeared on many concerts together. So I grew up with this. So I was fortunate to be in the Swedish culture. But my main interest was soccer and was photography when I was very young. Yeah, okay. Oh, I think so. Next one. Yeah, this is not a good picture, but it's a good event. I was 12 years old, and I was really standing at the Royal Palace trying to cover a secret story. So it was a romance. So I really was trying to do that, but I was discovered by a journalist and a photographer from our main newspaper. So now you can go for the next one. And so this was the day. And from that day on and all my time in school, I could be there at Dagens Nyheter on the weekends and follow the photographers. So I had many pictures published in Dagens Nyheter. So this is the next one. This is my first picture, and I was so proud when I was 14. And also the next one is it was Like Life. So this was Sweden playing Switzerland. And that became a rather famous picture. So that's me when I took this. But photography really was my life. And I was a photographer of the school and everything. But I just wanted to be, next one is the rock concert from 1961, I think. Yeah. I don't know if you recognize this guy. It's Fabian, an American singer. He came to Stockholm. And this is J.P. He was very popular in Sweden, but I think he was from Hawaii. But this is 1961, quite early. And I really was into photography. But, and also at school, I was I knew so many musicians, young guys, that has become very important later. But it was too simple to take pictures of friends. I really wanted big artists. So I made a mistake. That's the only mistake I've done. But you might recognize it. We were schoolmates. This is Lasse Hallström. He just graduated. So I was a still photographer of the school, and he was making the films. I think that's incredible. But like I said, this was a music school, and I knew so many that became quite famous later. And here is holding a song by the Mascots. They were like the Beatles in Sweden. That was his first group he was working with. And I left photography for a while. And I went into music. And all this singing, playing, I had a band. And then when we were rehearsing, we were supposed to play, and one night, one evening when we were going to play, no, you don't have to. And that was the first time Hep Stars appeared. But Ben hasn't joined that, but it was happened in 1964. And then I heard saw on the Swedish television a group called Hootenanny Singers. Have you heard that name before? Hootenanny Singers. And they had just won a prize. And so I checked the record company, Polar Music, yes. And we made this recording, and I went to Polar Music. And I said, listen to this. And they listened to it. Stig wasn't in there, it was his companion. And oh, he said, you have just tried to copy the next picture. Yeah, we have tried to copy Cliff Richard and the Shadows. So no record. But I was at the Polar very early. And now we're going to run this through. I became a school teacher. I didn't think I was going to make it as a photographer. So I said, school teachers, they have a lot of free time. Well, that's good time. So I can become a photographer in the free time. But I was very much involved in the school. And I was teaching students from the teaching training college right away. And I had my school, and I was making records. I wrote a lot of songs in those days. So I made records, we were on television, and we sang with other artists. Have you known Rolf Harris? Have you heard about him? Time can go down sport. So he came and did a Swedish version with my class. And then I became a producer of Radio Sweden when I was 24. So I had Europe and America that I covered. And I went to America in 1972. And I took these pictures and the next one. But then when I came to Minneapolis, next one. This is Minneapolis, 1972. And on the radio station, I think it's this radio station, WCCO, I heard a song which I heard in Sweden in the spring. People Need Love. You're familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yes. But now, it's a quiz question. What was the name of the group in 1972 in America?
Benny Björn, Meta Frida.
Oh, you're right. Benny with Svenska Flicka.
Yeah.
It's quite unique. But of course, this audience is the only one that would know it. In Sweden, nobody knows it. But that was really something that Stig has managed to get ABBA out in America already in 1972. And then the following year, in 1974, I made 16 television programs. And I wanted to combine music. I wanted to help the teachers in school with music, get the good artists. And there are some you might recognize called Chickadee-Gading. It doesn't mean anything, it was just a fun word I invented. So let's see what was in it. He was our anchor man. He was in all shows. You recognize him? Tommy Sherberg? Yeah. And I said to Tommy, Tommy, I want to have ABBA in our first program. Oh, no way, they're so commercial. That was impossible. And those days, it was very tough for ABBA in Sweden. They were rocking, especially in the media. It was very tough. And Tommy also said, ooh. So we didn't get ABBA. But we had this guy, you recognize him? Janne Schaffer. Yeah. And we had other singers, other musicians. You recognize this guy? Who is it? Harpo. I met him last week in Stockholm. We are very good friends, from this time. And we had just by coincidence happened to be, we was good for Chickadee-Gading, we were going to follow how you make a record. And it just happened to be Movie Star. It's really amazing. So we followed, and that was the first time I met Frida. She is a backing singer of Movie Star. And Agneta was supposed to be there, but she couldn't make it. But it's Frida and Lena Eriksson, another Swedish singer. But Harpo with Movie Star, that was really huge hit, and still is very popular. I don't know if his Harpo comes to Holland, but he goes to Germany quite often and give concerts still. So that's his song, and you wouldn't recognize him with a big beard today, but I could recognize his voice. And this guy is called Ted Gärdestad, and he was, instead of ABBA, we got Ted Gärdestad. And he was born 1956. He played tennis with Björn Borg at the same age. But then he was a very good songwriter and came to Polar when he was 13 years old. And Björn and Benny produced his songs. And he was extremely popular. And so and we also became very good friends. So very good friends, Harpo and Ted. And this guy, well, today you know it, but of course nobody could understand. But this is Kalle Moraeus. You know Kalle Moraeus? Yes. And I'm from Orsa, like he is. I was born up there. I live up there part of the time. And Kalle, from that on, I was very important to him. I showed him Stockholm, all the television, radio. So he's really, and now he's incredibly popular in Sweden. And here's Tommy. This was I taken in China on a tour. And in 1978, I was still making radio programs. I left Radio Sweden, but I had my own radio studio, and I was doing more than 100 programs. And I was asked, it's a lot of programs. And here I was working with Stickan Andersson 1 hour every day, and they were recorded up here. And that was the first time I met Göran. I'd never seen her before. And then I said to Ted, "Oh, Göran, I liked her. Yeah, invite her for lunch," Ted said. "Invite her for lunch." But that was pretty tricky, because she was always busy. But I made it on the 7th of July, and 2 weeks later we became a couple. Yeah, very quick, wasn't it? Yeah. And we stayed together for 23 years. And then we went up to my home up in Dalarna. And this was in the summer of 1978. And in August we had a party in Stockholm, and then I met ABBA the first time, and we became very good friends. And I said, "Oh, I'm a photographer, can I come over?" "Yeah, sure, come over to the studio." So I did that a couple of times, and these are the most unique ABBA pictures, I think. We can have a look. When they are just singing, they are not performing. For me, they are just singing. So I could come and go whenever I wanted to. But so we can just roll this. I mean, I saw these clocks somewhere. They were selling these ABBA clocks somewhere.
Yeah.
But these are the most unique pictures, and well, of course they are in the ABBA Museum. I have 150 pictures in the ABBA Museum. That's incredible. But they were just working. I could sit there, I could listen to them, and they didn't care about me. And then I have my fisheye and took this, and this was, oh, wonderful. I'd like to have someday. So I put it in my own studio, the picture. Up there I have it. It's my small mixing console. But this was my radio studio, and here is my where I was, and here is where I showed the pictures and was working with ABBA the first years. It's a very small place. The toilet is just very small, and there was Frida and Agneta by themselves fixing, makeup and everything, just the 5 of us. And really, when you look back and think about how times are now. And this is the first picture I took in my studio of them. Just a flash in the ceiling. But then in 1979, Lasse Hallström they were making a film about Gimme Gimme. We can run them through. You have seen them. But of course I was there, and It was easy because the good light and everything. You will see this picture later when it's blown up. It's amazing that what you can do. But this is a very rare single. I couldn't see it anywhere here. No. No. When Earl turned 30, they made this song for her, and everybody that was at this party got a copy.
How many copies?
Yes, I don't know. I don't know how many exactly, but there was an auction now. It was 2,500 euro for this. But I found 6 in my storage area. So I gave 4 of them to Euro. She was very happy. She didn't know about it either. But it's very rare and was quite unique. And they did about Stick and Stig, who was vittne also. But that I only have 1 copy of because I was at the party. And this is when we were in 79. When we were going on the tour and Agneta's beside, this is when the tour started. And this is the backing group for ABBA, you recognize. In the middle is Thomas Ledin, who married Marie, Stig's daughter. And he's an extremely popular singer in Sweden. And this is, now we're starting rehearsing. Now we are for the tour, which is asked to do. And nobody really knew what was going to happen. They had it rehearsed in Stockholm. But to see it on the stage, and this is in my book, a lot of pictures in 2 pages from the rehearsing before the concert starts. Yeah, and I could go in and it's like I've seen some of the clips from the video here. We were doing the same thing, but I was trusted. I could go wherever I wanted. And this is Ing-Marie to the left, that is in charge of the ABBA Museum. She was in charge of the clothes on the tour. And then it started, and how many of you saw actually in 1979 the tour? Not so many, but there are some. And you remember how it started? Benny was playing on his, it was the old hymn from Sweden, very, very beautiful. And yeah, every time we started, and they were standing like this, waiting before, what was the second number? Voulez-vous, yes. So then it all started. Right. And this was always happening. When they drew, the curtains went out, all the people took pictures. I wonder what they looked like. I had no idea. Because it was a regular film. With a digital you can do it. But it was regular film. But it was an incredible picture, and you will also see this one later. But then you just continue. We can just go with these pictures, and then which song? I Have a Dream. Yes. To me, you need a lot of music to this, just to show them. Yeah, Thomas Ledin had a song, and this is Lasse Welander. Yeah, he's been very important for ABBA after Janne Schaffer. And each show was exactly the same, but Frida was wearing a different, depending on the city we were in. So here, now we're definitely in Stockholm, as a hockey. And then the next one, we are definitely in London. So that I can tell. Otherwise, I really can't tell much. They are so similar pictures. in one of the cities at the beginning of the tour in America, I was standing among the fans, way to get the real. Otherwise, that was the only possible way to get shots from the real close. So I think that was the only time. But there are many different kinds of pictures. But then Stig also said, you have to do it in black and white. You have to do it in black and white. So I was trained to do everything in black and white. Now you just shoot and you can make them color black and white. But these are pretty nice. And now they made a color it, make a cover, and with a computer out of that. But this is what I was working with. After ABBA, I'd been to Egypt with this belly dancer because I was going to make my own first show, and that was about Egypt. And this was shown at the Modern Museum of Art in Stockholm. And I continued going. I was fully booked quite soon from the Swedish companies, but from the steel companies and the glass factories, and there was also a lot of other things I was doing. I was during 30 years, was doing 300 presentations, 10 every year. So it's quite a number. I was fully booked all the time. And then we got married. Yes. And this is taken by Bengt Malmqvist, who was the photographer before me. And then we went together skiing quite often with Benny and his family, because their son Ludwig and our son Kalle, they have lots of fun together. And then my pictures were used in different times, but this is a very important event. This is my 40th birthday. 40th birthday. And I said to Kalle, please come to Stockholm and take some fiddler guy with you. And so they were standing in the restaurant and playing, but when we came home the night, he was dressed otherwise. And this is the first time he meets Benny. So that was really the one that started the whole thing for Orsa Spelman. So Benny is always bringing his accordion along. He wanted to play. So now he got the 5 guys from Orsa, from my hometown. So they were rehearsing home in our house, and they were playing. And this is in 1987. In 1988, they made this Klinga mina klockor, the first one. And in fact, Klinga mina klockor was written in our house. But so Benny looks very good, you know. And I have a costume like this too. And we went to Minneapolis in 1988. And there I met Max von Sydow. He was doing the narration. And we became very good friends. And after that, we made many programs together. By the way, he just turned 90 on the 10th. So he became very good friends. And so he helped me with many programs. For instance, we made Anders Zorn, Carl Larsson, 2 Swedish famous painters. We've done. This is Carl Larsson, this is Zorn. And then we have done Strindberg and many programs together. So that was also. But now we are in 1990, Mamma Mia, the opening of the Mamma Mia. We came there. Actually, we didn't know what to expect. What to know. We really came. Björn had been there a lot, but Björn and I didn't know. So we saw some pre-shows, and I think it was great, but nobody else could understand that it would be so popular. But Catherine Johnson, who really put the lyrics together, was a wonderful job, very important. But then the next morning, here get the reviews. 4+ from Sweden. But I must tell you, after the tour, the opening of the tour in 1979 in Edmonton, we also got something like this from Sweden with 2+. Only 2+. It's incredible. Looking back, you know, they were not so popular in the Swedish media. But the people loved ABBA. But here they said, let's now we're going to do it a new musical, they said. We're going to start writing. Okay, this is a very important picture. I don't have a picture of myself with ABBA. This was the only one, because I was only taking pictures of them. But finally I got a picture with Jörl and ABBA, and that was more important. But this is after the ABBA years. So it's taken when they were going to make a television special program about Stig Andersson. So then they were together, and then I came up, oh, I better take a picture of Jörl and ABBA. And that's the only one I have. But it was I was so happy I did it. And then Benny, like you know, he made this orchestra instead of the fiddlers. He started working with more musicians. And Kalle Moraes is a great singer too. And Tommy, who hated ABBA in the past. But then, of course, Benny wrote Anthem for him, so he had to accept ABBA. This summer they would play. They do about every second summer they play. So this is in Leksand when they come in July. And it attracts a lot of people, and they always want them to dance before. Always. But to me, I started working with Sweden, so I made a show about Sweden with Benny's music, 1 hour, and it was very, very popular. And it was shown also on the World's Fair in Japan. And then I made a show with Kalle Moraes about our region. He's such a great guy, and nobody could understand how he could be so popular on Swedish television. But he became really a big star on television. And then I started going abroad. So I was China, I think, 10 times. And then I went to India and everywhere and making new programs. And I had my own, this was my showroom from the very beginning for my clients. I was fully booked, like I said, for 30 years. So I started making culture programs, and then one guy retired and said, oh, there are so many people that would love to come here in the daytime when they're retired. So we started opening for these societies, and wow, it's so popular. So during 10 years I had 50,000 people coming to see my shows. And then I closed it 3 years ago. So now I just rent the normal cinemas in Stockholm. So I had 200 people the other day to see my latest show around the world in 100 minutes. It took me 100 days to go around. But it's a good show. But this is, I don't know if you've seen this. Have this been in the magazine? How it started with Björn and Benny? They had a 50-year anniversary at Banj. And it's a funny story. You must have heard the story, how they met by coincidence. Two cars, and so they met at Linköping. And Linköping and Lidköping, they're two cities almost the same name, so one of them went to the wrong city. But finally they ended up in Linköping, and that's where Björn and Benny met and started playing Beatles together, and really was working together for many. That's where it all started. So they had party, and then they had invited a lot of friends to Banj. And it was great. A lot of singers were performing their music, and they were telling the story. And here are they sitting, and you're sitting there.
Back.
No. Quick. So they were together. So that was the only time, I think, they were together. They didn't sing together, just Frida and Agneta were singing, but they were there. And then this is with my publisher who published the book. This is Ville Wendt, and Roger was taking care of all the ABBA shots. And I think it was a good idea to make the book in '99. And then this was one of their first books. Now they have so many books, published so many books. And this is the ABBA pictures. with different photographers. Mine are the only ones down here. The white ones. That's mine. And then you can just go in there and select, look at some. I haven't taken this, but Roger just took them out one by one. So this is, when they are marked red, they are digital. The other ones not, but they are similar. So they could only, as I have thousands of ABBA pictures, thousands of them. So he could only select the best ones, I think. And it was up to him, really. And they are published a lot. So I get a report once a year. And this is Lasse Larsson who did the last covers, his pictures. So, and Torbjörn Calvero. So now they own they could buy, I couldn't sell my friends. So, but they bought all the other photographers, and they had to keep track on where they are published, on which book and which magazine and so on. But this was a really surprise that still ABBA calendars are made in Germany. With some of my pictures, I think. Yeah, this was I took in Paris in '82, I think it was.
84.
Okay, 84. Good. You know better. I can't recall. But this is from the tour. So this is, I know it's '79. I know exactly where we went. We went to San Francisco. But this was before the museum. It was ABBA World. You remember that, ABBA World? And I was so astonished to see my pictures so big, you know, huge pictures from my small negatives. And you saw this picture in reality before. It's huge. And also this one on the wall. But of course in the ABBA Museum it's different, but this was ABBA World. And this is the main street for me. It's called Jungfrugatan. This is where I've been operating since 1978. And here, and this is where Polar started. This is 18. And my studio was up here, above, and then I moved down to the White House. And then I moved down, I had the whole corner here. So I've been here since '78, and I'm still in the White House. So Jungfrugatan is very important, but it's a small street. And there's a big church. This is my son, Carl, and he's working with me now, taking care of all our visitors coming. It's very nice. And this is Ural, and our daughter she is turning 30. 30th birthday party, and we had a good party for her because right before Christmas is her birthday, but she was in Bolivia at that time to show her husband, and this is a godfather of Carolina. So we had a small party, and the godmother of Kalle is Frida, so we are very close. And this is a greeting from Ural to all of you.
Thank you.
And I got it yesterday. She's in La Paz, Bolivia, right now. And tomorrow she's going to hike up to Machu Picchu. Start walking 4 days together with some friends. But she really wanted me to say very warm greetings to you all from her.
Thank you very much.
Now I will take a picture of you.
Yeah.
From the back. One more time. Now you're happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your nice presentation. It was really wonderful to see all those pictures. We have a little something from you, so you will remember when you're back home. If you are interested, then Anders, you can take a picture with Anders or ask for his autograph. We still have a few of his books at sale at our shop, so if you want an autograph on his book, then you can also buy it. And well, enjoy the day, and we will be back later on telling you who won the very nice prizes autographed. So see you later.